Oh, hi. That was the Zoom song. I don't know if you've heard the Zoom song before. It's kind of the theme song for Zoom, don't you think? Ever heard that before? Oops, front camera. There I am. Oh, let's get rid of all this. Whoa, look at all that. Holy cow, whatever that is. Better get rid of that. There. Okay, back to reality. Did you ever hear the Zoom song before?
Never.
Pardon me? It's the theme song for Zoom.
It's also the advertisement for Mazda.
Yeah, that's right. How many years ago was that? Was that in the 80s? Were you around for that ad?
Just about.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it was Mazda did this Zoom Zoom thing. Yeah. I thought it was appropriate. I stumbled upon that. I thought, sure, we need a theme song for Zooming as much as we have. So there you go. Today is a little light on lecture. So we'll get to the lecture. Got a couple topics, some transitional topics that we do, but I just kind of want to get oriented on some things, have a little time to chat a little bit, see who's in the audience. Who's there? Looking at, oh, I'm looking at you. Let's see, can I do that? Oh, there we go. Hi, Lily, Mallory, Joe, Isaac, you really there? I see there's no, yeah, when I go to Zoom meetings, I don't have the camera on myself either because then I can do what I want to do. You know, nobody knows what I'm doing while the meeting's going on. Jack, you there really? Sam, Liam, what do you say? So
Hello.
hi, I'm just checking. Okay, so here we go. Let's back to me, of course, because is it all about me? I don't know. Okay, so here's a chance to ask some questions and fill in some gaps and whatever else we need to do. First, the assignment. The first assignment is due on Friday, and just to learn how to interact with with Blackboard. You turn this assignment in, you go to content, and then you go to turn it in, and then you find the thing that says needs, and you turn it in out there. A couple of people sent me emails and said, in the video, you said just do one advertisement, but on the assignment it said two. Well, yeah, I struck a line through the two and made it just one. So yeah, you just have to do one advertisement. But don't miss the number 4 item on that assignment. This is where I ask you to take that product and move it to a different level. So first, maybe a couple of things I've learned from doing this twice already today. You're the third shot at this, and I think I got worse on the Zoom song. I think I did a better job on this. I shut it off on this one. I ask you to describe the ad or attach it if it's like a magazine thing or a single frame thing, a single picture on a website thing that pops up or whatever. Yeah, you could attach it, PDF, or describe it, just a few words. Here's what's going on in this ad. Here's the pictures. Here's what it said. You know, someone asked me, what if it's a video? No, I'm not going to watch a video. Sorry. There's 160 of these things have to be processed, right? I don't have time to watch videos. But if you do a video, describe it. Just say, oh, here's what we're in the pictures. Here's what they said, or just some quick thing. So describing the ad, but then the number 4 part of the assignment, take that product and move it somewhere else. So you got this ad, you describe it. Here's where it seems to be pitched with regard to the level, the need hierarchy thing, the level of need hierarchy. And then where could you move it? Could you move it up the hierarchy or down the hierarchy? And describe what that would look like. You know, and it's a description again. You don't have to give me artwork or whatever. Just, yeah, here's what I'd say. Here's kind of what I'd show to make it speak to a different level of the hierarchy. So there's the first thing. So questions. I think that covers it pretty well. Submitted by Friday is the idea. So we can learn how to do that for the first time this semester. And so questions on that assignment?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we're gonna turn it in under needs and advertisements, right?
Right.
And I believe a week or 2 ago, I turned in that assignment just because it said it was due August 26th. So I thought I was late, so I turned it in as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if I can redo it.
Well, sure. I don't even know if it's out there. I haven't checked. So you think you could do a better job on it now that you've had it described a little bit? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I mean, I relied a lot on Google for that assignment because I didn't have the book like 2 weeks ago. So
yeah. Sorry. You know, some folks saw that date and they thought, oh God, I'm behind already, but that wasn't the intention. So the date was kind of the date I put them out there.
Oh, okay, I see.
Built the website, you know, so yeah, submit it again, and we'll see what happens. I mean, will it overwrite? Will we get too? Send me an email too. How about that? Just say, hey, I was the guy that said I handed it in early on, and I want to redo it. Just to remind me and have your name on a piece of paper, and we can keep it straight.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Professor.
Okay, thanks. What else? Okay, going once, twice, off to a new topic. Let's talk about video links now. I've been using your class videos, and I'll probably do it again because by the 3rd time I almost got it straight. So I use the one I do for your class when I post up the videos of our live sessions like this one. So that's out there under content and videos, and yeah, I give you a little identifier, I give it a number, and I tell you what's on the video. So like this one, I'll say something about systems and strategic planning. Those are the 2 topics. And then maybe admin, because that's kind of what we're doing, a little admin stuff. But how about that's the synchronous stuff, the live stuff. How about the canned? No, I'm not going to use the word canned, because that cheapens it. The asynchronous. And of course, Gonzaga is encouraging the synchronous. For me, that's like a little silly when I do this 3 times, and I can do it a lot better asynchronous. Okay. So I post this stuff up, these recorded ones up. And like I said, I told you earlier on, I said, yeah, I can pause, I can move stuff around. If I drop something, I can pause it and pick it up, and I can move stuff around, and it's all in one chunk. So I got this asynchronous that I'm doing, and I guess one thing, well, first, any comments about it in general? You know, got the asynchronous. Don't say canned.
I like the asynchronous. I think it's good.
I do.
As do I. I enjoy it a lot.
Well, you can move around too. If you don't get something, you go back 30 seconds. What the heck did he say? Hey, I want to write that joke down. I want to, okay. I want to write that joke down, use it myself. What else about it? I mean, Yeah, I see advantages. Anything else in general? Videos? I'll make a couple more comments. You can think about it. I mean, one thing with the videos, like the one you saw it was for Monday. That thing went on for an hour and 5 minutes, didn't it? Okay. The deal is, I'm not giving you extra. Okay. I mean, I've taught this class for, should I say it, decades? I can say that, decades. I mean, stuff changes, but the class, some of the fundamentals of the class, decades. And so I know what goes into this class. I know what you should get. One thing you're not getting is the term project. Okay, so that got dropped because I just couldn't see how to make that work the way I did the term project. It was a simulation I used to do. Marketing game. That's a cool thing, but doing that in this world that we're in right now, it didn't make sense how it would really work. So you're getting what you need for this class, but it's in some unusual chunks. It's not 50 minutes. For instance, I'm going to give you 2 videos for Friday. One's on competition and one's on government legal environment. I'm probably slower and more thorough than when I do it live because the clock isn't ticking and it's not like, it's like 5 minutes before the class is over and everybody's packing stuff up. And I'm kind of, I'm realizing, I probably lost you 30 minutes, but now we're down to 45 minutes. Good luck. No clock. So like that marketing concept thing for Monday, that might have slopped over. It was at least parts of all of one period and part of another or something like that. Well, you lose continuity. It's a lot better when it's in a chunk. And so if you're looking for 50-minute shots, when we do these asynchronous, it's not going to happen probably. Some will be, I'm not abusing you anyway. We'll catch up. For instance, I'll do something like a test review for the test that's a week after next. That's my next topic. Geez, maybe I'd stick that in for 20 minutes of one class period. I'll probably do it for 40 minutes and make it one video. Being a lot more thorough, giving you more stuff, being slow and careful about it instead of the clock ticking. So you got to be comfortable with either way. I mean, if you get an hour and 5-minute video, you don't watch half of it. Tell yourself where you quit and go watch it later if you don't want to do an hour and 5-minute chunk. But it's not, so we're not totally in sync with 50 minutes 3 times a week, if you're with me on that. So, and I think there's a real benefit to those asynchronous things. That's my take of it. So, questions? Anything else on videos? Videos? Done with videos. How about tests? Oh, let me throw this in before we get to test. You do have a copy of the book or access to the book, right? Because as you see, I give you page numbers along the way. Kind of connect what we're doing to that textbook. So a week after next, Monday, a week from next Monday, we have our first test. The mini getting to know you, user-friendly, biodegradable, whatever that test is, It's a 14%er. It's not worth as much as the other test, but it still costs you 14%. Then the next couple of tests are 20%, building up to the final worth 30. Altogether, that's 84% of the class grade. And I'm going to grade the class. It might not be quite on the scale that I usually do in a real live class because of the environment we're stuck in. We all didn't want to be in this environment, but here we are. So it might be some concessions in some ways, but still graded. You got the book, no book issues. Okay. No book issues. Then the test, the mini test, and I just described it a little bit. Monday after next. And here's what, in the syllabus, under test, it made some comments in bold, black, note. So we're gonna test via Blackboard. That's, in my estimation, totally lame, because you know what? I want to know what you know about the test, about the topics. I don't want to know what you and your pals know, or you on the smartphone knows, or you and whatever knows. I don't want to know that. I want to know what you know about it, right? It's supposed to be closed book, closed note, closed smartphone. Your friends are God knows where while you take tests. So that's kind of the idea. So with that in mind, if we're stuck doing it this way, which is lame in my estimation, it says, there'll be a time limit. There'll be questions, will be random. So I'm gonna have some true, false in a random kind of chunk that we do in random order, multiple choice, random order, and then some short answer essay. They're probably pretty much in order because some refer to earlier things. So yeah, that's going on in the test. A couple other things with regard to the test. I give you a review like Friday before the test. The test is Monday after next. I'll give you a review. There'll be one video, a canned video. Don't say canned, asynchronous. And I'm gonna thumb the textbook, skipping stuff that you don't need to look at, maybe highlighting some things we didn't talk about, but you gotta check out. I'm always embarrassed when I review for a test because I spill my guts. I always tell you way more than I should. I'm always embarrassed by what I do on a test review. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to thumb through the textbook page by page. I'm going to thumb through the notes, hit some highlights, hit the highlights, the big deals there. If you see something in the notes, and I also gave you page numbers, that's a pretty good clue. But also, what else? Oh, so looking at the schedule. I mean, someone wanted to know this, so a little heads up on what stuff you need to check out for that test. And I'll give you more details. Maybe I'll send you an email that says more. Friday, of course, before the test, I'll give you all kinds of information. Structure of the test, how many true, false, multiple choice, short, as much as I can there with structure. I'll thumb the book, I'll thumb the notes, like I said, or the outlines. So looking at the schedule, chapter 1, chapter 2, pretty much up through September 14th. It has a part of an appendix A, that has something to do with types of competition. It says chapter 3, most of it. You go forward a little ways and you see, oh yeah, we catch some of chapter 3 later on, but we look at most of it for this. And then chapter 4, about 10 pages in chapter 4. I think that looks, at this today, that looks pretty safe to say. Look at what's covered through September 14th on the schedule, the stuff in the textbook, if you want to get oriented on that a bit. And okay, pause for a moment before I get to another deal about tests. Pausing.
So, Professor, will you post those that list that you just kind of read off? Is that going to be on Blackboard? Like you just kind of gave like a general outline of what will be on the test.
Of the chapters?
Yes.
That's in your syllabus.
Oh.
That's through September 14th on your syllabus. So check that out. It shows what chapters and materials like the appendix and stuff.
Oh, no,
that
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, okay. It's out of the book
Thank you.
that we've designated for the semester. Other stuff. Well, you think about it. We'll have more time too, probably at the very end if something comes to your mind. Here's the deal. I saved this for last. It says here, under the highlights, under test, black notes, all students in all 3 sections will take the test at one set time. Because I want this level playing field. I want to know what you know about it. And so that one set time, I was trying to decide how I was going to pull that off. And for better or for worse, I picked the time of this class. I figured 4:10, you all got to be here for 4:10, okay? So we're cool. The other folks, I figured that the 4:10 class was the one that was least likely to have conflict. So what I asked them to do, and I don't think you have to do this, but what I asked them to do was check your schedule, see if you can clear it for 4:10 Monday, the 28th. Monday the 28th, 4:10. And I'll give you about an hour. That's more time than you usually get to do one of these tests in a classroom. 4:10. So I think we're okay here, but if there are, that's the deal. They're all going to be taken at the same time you are.
I had a question.
Yeah.
I was wondering, are we going to be on Zoom while we take the test, or are we all just going to get on Blackboard at the same time and take it?
You just get on Blackboard, and yeah, there's no class that day, of course, for what that's worth. They're not going to have class these other 2 sections at 1:10, 2:10. I'm just inviting them to join you, sort of, as you get on Blackboard at that time and take the test. Oh yeah, here's the thing I'm doing too. I don't know how much testing you've experienced on Blackboard, but to get oriented again, to make sure you kind of on board with it, I've got a little 2-question experimental test, okay? The point of, and I'll send you a link to that. It'll be posted up there under test. So you go to content, tests, stuff's going to start showing up there, like this little 2-question test. And the point of that is just to get you, so you're interfacing with stuff on Blackboard, like test stuff, okay, and you kind of get an idea how that works. So that you can watch for that. I'll send you a link. The link will be out there on Blackboard. I'll tell you on some email that, yeah, go check it out. It might, it's important to do before we do the test so you get familiar with the interface. So I'm going to do that little practice deal. Yeah, I did mention. Yeah, I did mention this. Back to the black items. They're on the syllabus. Test questions will be presented one at a time. It's going to start with true false. It's going to move to multiple choice. They're all going to be randomized within each of those categories. Then it moves to short answer essay. And you get one chance. Everybody's in the same boat. It's not the way you'd like to take the test. I mean, some people want to do the short answer essay first, then move to other things. We're in this Corona online world and trying to make it work so I can get more of what I want from a test. And that's not the way I want to take a test, but we're all in the same boat. All of you are in the same boat, facing a test presented in that fashion. Randomized, time limit, everybody takes it at a certain time, 1 question at a time, no going back. Best shot, first try. 1 try. It's a Blackboard Corona world. Okay. questions? There's the good news. What's the, no, that's not the, yeah, whatever. That's the news. It's just news. So questions on tests. Yeah, I feel the same. I get it. Anything. Okay, think about all that, and there might be some time. I expect there will be. I think I was a lot. Well, I got more. I think I've covered more stuff in what I did than I did in the other classes. They had to ask me questions to kind of stimulate my thinking on things I should cover. So I think I've hit on a lot of things that that they brought up, and I give them all to you. So I'm getting, like I said, the third try at doing this usually is the best, and that's for your class. So as you think for one more minute, let me look. Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you a more thorough review than you get in a classroom. Just looked at my note here. A lot of times 20 minutes. You get maybe 40. I don't know how long it'll take me. Just make sure, take my time, not pressed by the clock. I kind of appreciate that part of this situation we're in. So, okay. See if there's something at the end here, but let's take the plunge. We're going to look at two topics. So when we talked about the history of marketing, we said, oh, systems approach, this biological analogy, that was a big deal like in 1965. We're going to talk about it here today a little bit. Strategic planning. Yeah, you still plan. You still generate strategies, but it was a big deal back like 1955. So I'm going to link these two topics together, transition from systems into strategic planning. And I have no outline, as you can see here. You know, there's no outline to put up to make you think, oh God, I can't read that. And then you go get your hands on it. You know, or have it there someplace we can work with it. So there's no outline, just a blank board today. So a systems perspective. And like I've mentioned, this is a biological analogy. All living things have some similarities. One of the major things, they have some components that are similar, the same. They have components, all living things have components that are the same. They all interact with their environment. There's like this flow, stuff comes in, it's processed, it goes out, stuff comes in, it's processed. All living things. And here's a picture that shows you some levels of systems. Because you might think of living things, I don't know what you think about, you and me and critters and cells and stuff like that. Here's a picture. Let's see if I can get a little more of that in the picture. Pull it back a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, kind of. Let's go just a little bit. Here we go. Now, see, I wouldn't have to do all this screwing around if I was doing this asynchronous. I can pause it and get stuff set and go, oh, look at that beautiful thing. This is the little thing that was up when we were zooming. This was kind of showing up there. But this is levels of living systems. I don't know if you ever thought about it this way, but from systems theory, it kind of makes sense. And so, for instance, at the most fundamental level, it says the cell, living thing, okay? And moving to organ, and then organism like you and me, and then a group, and then an organization like a business firm, a community, a society like the US. Down here, this big blob, it says supranational system. And that's like the European Union, beyond national boundaries is the idea. So here's this living thing, and it interacts with its environment. And so one of the things that a living system does, it has components that are brought together to achieve some objectives, like maybe staying alive, maybe growing in an environment. So they have these components. I'll show you some of those components in a minute that are common to all living systems. So they have components that are united, kind of work together to achieve an objective. It accepts input from the environment and produces output via an organized process. And that pretty much is a definition of a living system, okay? So you could think of, what do they put in Petri dishes? Who knows biology? You know, it's like this Petri dish and it's filled with agar. What's agar? It's like seaweed stuff. I mean, it's like the environment that this amoeba is living in. And if I'm wrong here, just go with the idea, you know? I'm faking it with regard to biology a little bit here. So you got the idea. I mean, an amoeba in a Petri dish, and that's agar, and that's the environment. You could think of an organization. Let's point to the organization. There it is, right there. You could think of an organization as this living thing, living in an environment. Okay, it's not living in this Petri dish with agar, but it lives in an environment, the stuff around it. And so you think of a business firm, an organization, and what's its environment? What's the environment? Well, it's everything outside of the organization, outside of this living thing. And for a business firm, it's stuff like, how about the competitive environment? That's the next outline that we're going to look, next outline we're going to look at, next lecture. How about the governmental legal environment? That's the other one we're going to look. Okay, so what we do, we talk about this system stuff, then we go look at some components of the environment that this organization is living in. So you got competitive environment, you got legal political, you got socioeconomic, you got the technological environment, you got competitors, you got suppliers, you got, how about customers, clients, patients, the folks on the receiving end of what you're doing? That's all that stuff is outside the firm, and there you are in that environment trying to stay alive at a minimum and grow in that environment. Anything about the world we live in right now, I mean, geez, staying alive, little businesses, yeah, sad tales, right? So what's that environment like, even pre-2020? What's the environment like? Calm and peaceful, smooth sailing, never changing. That was a lie, okay? How about volatile? How about dynamic? How about this? Rife with dynamism. You use the word rife very often? Rife with dynamism. Volatile, ever-changing, rife with dynamism, whatever that sounds cool. Volatile, threatening. How about all that? Pre-2020, all that. And all the 2020, you realize we got 3 more months of 2020. What's next? Not to be a Debbie Downer on the deal, but, viruses and riots in the street. And how about hurricanes and firestorms? And we got 3 more months to go. I'm nervous, okay? So here's a guy, maybe some of you know of Alvin Toffler. Alvin Toffler, he wrote his coolest book back 40 years ago was Future Shock, kind of describing the pace of change in the world back then. This was 40 years ago. And it still applies today, even more so. So what's that environment like? Here was a quote from Toffler. He said, it's a roaring current of change, a current so powerful today that it overturns institutions, shifts values, and shrivels our roots. Whatever your shriveled roots are about. But what's future shock? It's the future meeting you today, and you're not ready for it. That's future shock. So that kind of speaks to this environment. What's it like for a business firm? Yeah, I think I've described it pretty well. What is managing? Managing is change management. And are things changing? Amen, brother. Okay. As we speak. So here's another picture of a living system and some of the components. All living systems have these components. And there are 5 of them there. And here's a couple of comments. Okay, first, we've got input. You don't have to remember all these details so much, but I'll tell you at the end here what you need to catch from all this, really. Input, process, output. Remember the way we kind of defined a system. Components united to achieve an objective, accepts input and produces output via an organized process. First, input from the environment, output to the environment. And for what it's worth, input and output are comprised of 3 things for all living systems. Check this out, this is kind of interesting. All living things from the cell up to the European Union. What's the input? Energy, information, and materials. So you have these less tangible things, and then you got physical kind of things. Energy, information, and material comes in. I'm pointing with my mouse, and that's not doing it. Okay. Energy, come on, let's do this way. There we go. Energy, information, and material come in. Energy, information, and material go out. Okay. Those 3 broad categories. And then you got the process, whatever that entity, that living thing does to stay alive and grow potentially in that environment. Okay. Interacting with the environment. Hostile, volatile, shriveling your roots environment. Okay, so you got the idea of what input and output are in energy, information, material, and then the process. And here you can think of, here's this business firm. These little blobs in here. We got marketing department, we got finance, we got manufacturing, we got stuff coming in here, we got stuff going out there. What was that sound? And so here's all these pieces of the organization. You think about the sub areas within the organization. Then the last 2 components, all living systems have a feedback component. That's like output redelivered as input. Output redelivered as input, kind of like information, monitoring the output, and it's fed into this control. C is for control. How does this link to strategic planning? Right there. Strategic planning is a control mechanism. So we got feedback, output, mainly information, delivered as input, sort of going through this control mechanism. It's like strategic planning, controlling the process, controlling the input, and that's where it fits. So that's a little picture of back to the old days when that was a hot topic, a lot of time spent on looking at the idea of a living thing. And it's worthy. I mean, you get some things from this, and I'll talk about it in a minute. I think I'm about ready to talk about and how it kind of links to strategic planning. So the organization is trying to stay alive at least and grow in that environment. And here's what you get. Okay, this is probably the most important piece of this thing. The idea of the environment, that's an important piece, what it's comprised of, and all these things outside the firm, and its volatility. Here's some things you get from this analogy, this living systems kind of perspective. Number one, are you ready? Number one, you can play this back if you need. It's just the analogy that this organization is a living thing. That's a worthwhile kind of things to think about, especially when you consider this flow between it and its environment, input in, output out, interacting with that dynamic, volatile, threatening maybe environment. That's the first thing you get, just the analogy itself, a living thing existing in an environment. Number two, it focuses you, this perspective, this living systems perspective, focuses you outward on that environment because that's what you live in. So focusing outward on that environment, maybe from a marketing concept, remember that? From a marketing concept perspective, particularly on your receiving enders. Who's out there that you're doing this, the exchanges with, customers, clients, patients, whatever, citizens, on the receiving end of what you're doing. So that flow with, the marketing concept, the thought of who's the focus of the marketing concept? It's the folks you're trying to engage in exchange with. What's the focus of this living systems perspective? The environment, including, maybe most importantly, probably from a marketing concept perspective, the folks you're trying to engage in the exchange with, whoever they are. So focuses you outward. That's number two. Number three, it kind of points up the idea that you're all part of the same living thing. You identified all these functional areas in here, I'm a marketing person. I have my biases. I have things I think are important. I'm a finance person. I know what I think is important. I'm a MIS, I'm accounting, I'm manufacturing. I kind of got my own self-interest involved there sometimes. But if you take this systems perspective, you're all part of this living thing. And what's good for this living entity, this living organization, trying to stay alive, trying to grow in this environment. So sometimes maybe things might not be optimum for your functional area, but they're optimum for the whole organization. So it helps avoid self-interest, looking at things that are good for the organization. And this links to the marketing concept also. The idea of, the means toward the ends of satisfying, reaching objectives through satisfaction of your receiving enders. Total company effort, total company, focused outward, in particular on those receiving enders. So the marketing concept kind of links to this too. So the third thing is you're all part of the same organization, getting past self-interest to what's good for the organization and thinking about total company, the whole company, having that marketing concept orientation, which as marketers we think is pretty important. Okay. That's the systems perspective. Now, how does that link up with strategic planning? Well, we already kind of mentioned it right here, didn't we? We said strategic planning is a control mechanism. And here are some fundamental components of a strategic plan. Why is that wiggling so much? These are fundamental components. A lot of strategic plans, you're going to see these things. This is kind of truncated, but there you go. A vision. Hey, and you can apply this personally. Strategic planning for yourself. What's your vision? So an organization's vision, what's that? That's like, what does it aspire to? It's something you see off in the future. Hey, you envision a vision. I think that works. You envision a vision. So this is all part of control. There it is, C for control. Strategic plan, you envision a vision, aspirational. How about a mission? What's that? It's who you are. It's what you do. It's why you exist. I don't know if you thought about that yourself, but you think about this personally. So an organization, who are they? Why do they exist? What do they do? And then what are objectives and goals? It's like these are piled on top of one another. Objectives and goals are, where are you going? And when are you going to get there? Where are you going? What ROI are you pursuing? How many new stores do you want to open up? Or whatever, some quantifiable things that you put dates to. That's what goals and objectives are about. Quantifiable things, where you're going, when you're going to get there, dates and amounts. And then the strategy, what is the strategy? That is the how you're going to do all that stuff above. How are you going to obtain your goals and objectives whilst, there's a great word, whilst fulfilling your mission, who you are, why you exist, as you move toward your aspirations, your vision for yourself. That's the strategy. It's how you're going to do all the stuff above, okay? So it's all, here I am. It's all coping with a dynamic environment. One that's changing faster than you're ready for it to change. The future meeting you today when you're not really ready for it. It's future shock. This is what strategic planning can help you with. Thinking about this biological analogy, control mechanism of strategic planning, and future shock. 2020 was like off the charts for future shock, I believe. So far, 3 more months to go. So now what I do with the next videos is start looking at components of that environment. Competition, governmental legal, and then we go off and start looking at markets, some specific things on markets. So at this point, I will pause once again, because that's everything. Got a few more minutes of class, or I can hang around if you wanna talk about investments. No, you don't want, no. You don't want to talk to me about investments. So anything else right now? Anything? Questions on what I just did? I'm going to post this up, of course, so you can watch it over and over again.
So just to clarify, when is the next synchronous meeting, I guess, that we're going to have?
Synchronous? Wednesday. I'm planning Wednesday, next week. So I've got something for Friday, and I'd like to do the next component of that's competition and the legal governmental environment. So it's two things. The next thing I want to do is, at least most of it, on target markets, that piece of the environment. And I'd like to put that asynchronous, and that would be like Monday. And so synchronous would be Wednesday. I have to think about what I'm going to do then. But yeah, I'm shooting for Wednesday at this point.
Thank you.
And the test review, I'd like it to be asynchronous. And then I can spend my time doing it. And if you have questions, you can shoot me emails, because I think you all know, those who have sent me emails, I'm pretty pretty quick getting back to them because, you know, I'm kind of lonesome with nothing to do and just kind of waiting for someone to chat with me. And you send me an email, then it gives me an opportunity to interact with other human beings. Okay. God, where did I get this stuff? I'm not sure. It just comes. Okay, questions? Anything else? Okay, if you'd like to communicate with me about stuff, be sure to. I will get back to you ASAP. If you're done right now, so am I. Good.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank
You're
you.
wel- You're welcome. Toodaloo.